What's up, everybody? I am Mckenty. This is my second channel where I talk about business and marketing and entrepreneurship and personal development, all that kind of stuff that's not fit for my main channel because it's not about music. Why does Raid Shadow Legends sponsor everybody under the sun on YouTube, including me? And second, what is their business model? What makes it possible for them to spend such an astronomical amount of money, because they definitely do, on sponsoring all of us? But before I get into that, I wanted to remind everybody about my social media coaching program. If you are a creator that wants to turn it into your full-time job, YouTuber, podcaster, vlogger, Instagrammer, whatever, then it might be a fit for you. Number two, if you are a founder, CEO, anything like that, the face of a business that wants to grow your own personal brand as a way of growing your company. For example, if you're an accountant or a lawyer or a graphic designer, a photographer, something like that, it may also be a fit for you. If that sounds interesting, there's a link to that in the description. But let's talk about Raid. So, Raid Shadow Legends. Why do they sponsor everybody? And how much do they spend? Well, I have no idea how many people they sponsor in total, but I would guess that every person that they sponsor, they're paying somewhere between $500 on the low end and probably like $10,000 or $20,000 on the high end. It could be even more, I'm not sure. And let's say they sponsor 100 people a month and they give them each on average $2,000 each. That's $200,000 a month that they're spending just on YouTube alone, and probably ads on Google search and everywhere else as well. So you gotta figure that they're spending hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on marketing every month. How can they afford to spend so much? Well, the answer is because they understand their business very, very, very well. Gaming in general, in particular mobile gaming, is one of the most sophisticated data-driven businesses. And what you need to understand is that these mobile games are just a big algebra problem. That's it. I'm going to introduce a couple concepts here that are very critical to any kind of online business, whether that is a subscription business like we run at Academy, whether that is an e-com store like, Nike, or a mobile game like Raid Shadow Legends. The first concept is lifetime value, or LTV. This is, on average, how much a user spends with you over the entire lifetime that they're with you. So let's say, for example, that the average Nike customer buys 5 things a year online, and on average it's $60 per thing. That's $300 a year. And let's say that they do the math and they know that the average customer stays with them for 4 years, then the LTV of a customer, the lifetime value of a customer, is $1,200. The second concept is cost per acquisition. Acquisition is just a fancy word for like getting a new user or a new customer. And cost per acquisition is, on average, how much does it cost you to get a new user? I'm not going to get into all the different ways that you can calculate cost per acquisition. You could literally write a 500-page book about that. But let's just say that at the most basic level, the way that you could calculate that would be, we spent X dollars on marketing this month and we got X number of new users. You divide dollars by users, and then it cost us, let's say, $10 per user. And in general, with any kind of online business, as long as the lifetime value of a customer is greater than the cost per acquisition, you're good. There's definitely more detail to it than that, but broadly speaking, for the sake of this video, just look at it that way. Let's say that it costs you $100 to get a new user or a new customer. That sounds like a lot, right? Like, holy shit, I had to spend $100 just to get somebody to sign up for my game? Well, if you know that the average lifetime value of that user is $800, then that's fine. You came out $700 ahead, right? This is called the LTV to CAC ratio, customer acquisition cost. And what you need to understand is that these mobile games are just a big algebra problem. That's it. Yes, it is a game, but really everything in that game is an element designed to tweak one of the terms in this equation, which is the one that drives every online game. It is called ARPMAU, average revenue per monthly active user. And let me break that down for you, because once you understand this, you understand why Raid can afford to spend hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars on marketing every month. The amount of money that Raid makes every month is the number of users that they have times ARPMAU. And their entire business, like I said, is just adjusting the game and the marketing process to increase the ARPMAU and decrease the cost per acquisition. Again, it is average revenue per monthly active user. And let's break down each piece of this and look at it separately. So first is user. This is pretty obvious. The more users you get, the more money you make, right? But that's just the beginning. Look at the next part of it, the MA, monthly active users. So one of the things that you want to do is turn a user into a monthly active user. So they can do things like send you push notifications or emails or any of the other ways that might make you go, hey, log in again. One of the common ways you'll see this in games is the daily login rewards, because clearly they want you to log in every day. They want to turn you from a user into a DAO, daily active user. The more times you log in, the more times you see an offer to buy special gold coins or void shards or whatever, and they make more money because ARPMOU goes up. And then that brings us to the very last part of the term, the average revenue per the ARP part. So think about all the different ways that you can increase the average revenue that you make every month per monthly active user. Every time you log into one of these games, you get like 7 prompts. Do you want to buy a pack of gold shards and special magic gems for $5.99? No? Okay, well, how about this one for $3.99? No? Okay, how about this one for 99 cents? And there's all the different ways they gate the content, like, oh, do you want to upgrade your champion? Oh, that's going to cost you 42 gold pieces, which cost 99 cents. And this month we've got a special offer on champion cards or whatever, like all these different places that they try to monetize you. That is to increase the average revenue. And again, this is just scratching the surface. These companies are very sophisticated in terms of data science. Like what I just told you is just barely scratching the surface. You can look this up. There's lots more other things like cohort analysis and stuff like that. But the bottom line is this: they have hundreds of thousands or millions of users in their games. And because of that, they very reliably know how much a user is worth. Again, let's say it's $100. So if they pay a YouTuber $1,000 and because of that ad they get 10 new users, then they broke even, right? That's the game. It's as simple as that. As long as you know how much a user is worth to you, you know exactly how much you're willing to pay. And they do a lot of other things to get even more granular. Like for example, you'll notice that every video from every YouTuber has its own special tracking link, so they can get even more efficient by saying, oh, that guy sucks. He doesn't get any new users for us. Let's take the money away from him and give it to this other person whose audience seems to like our game more. So how does all that apply to you? Someone who I assume does not have an online game. Well, the big lesson here is to understand your numbers, like understand what actually drives your business and understand what creates growth. Because as soon as you understand it as well as they do, then basically like you can give yourself a raise anytime you want, because you have a very clear grasp on what actually drives results for you. So for example, let's say you're a photographer. You can do the same kind of math. You can say, on average, I've noticed that my clients pay me, let's say, $1,000 per job. And on average, I've noticed that for every person who hits the contact form on my website, I get 10 emails, and of those 10 emails, 5 of them end up wanting to get on the phone with me, and of those 5 calls, I end up getting 2 new clients out of that. So your closing rate for clients is 40%. Well, what does that tell you? Let's say you want to make $2,000 more a month. Well, knowing that, that means you need to have 5 calls with potential clients. And now you just need to go make that happen. Go to local meetups, when you're allowed to travel again, of course. Be active on LinkedIn. Mention on your Instagram, like, hey, I've got some openings in October. Let me know if you want to work together. It's just a numbers game. Like, you're no longer guessing, like, how much money am I going to make in October? You kind of have a pretty good idea of it. You can kind of reliably forecast how much money you're going to make, and also forecast how to give yourself a raise. And again, this is way more simple than it sounds. Like, if you're afraid of math, don't be. This is like literally 6th grade math. It's just basic multiplication and division. You can do this stuff with like the calculator on your phone. It's that easy. But the takeaway here is to know your numbers, like understand in detail what actually drives growth for your business, and be data driven. Not every business is quite as like predictable as mobile gaming. Not every business is as predictable and like easy to model as mobile gaming is. But even the ones that aren't quite that predictable, like you can still use this to give you a little bit more of an idea instead of just flying blind like so many people do. So if you ever wondered how Raid Shadow Legends and all these other games make their money and why they're able to spend a shitload of money sponsoring YouTubers like me and other people and spend astronomical amounts of money on Facebook ads, well, now you know. It's because they know their numbers, they know their CAC and LTV and their ARPMOU and their ARPDAU and all that stuff, and it's all just a big spreadsheet to them. All right, I'm gonna sign off for now. I hope that was helpful or interesting or something like that, but I will see you next time.